In truth and reality, we are having the opportunity to be brand new every day. Every single day when we wake up in the morning, we could, in essence, drop the clothes of the day before, drop all of the mind chatter and all of the thoughts of the day before, and wake up as our enlightened self and be brand new in the day. How do we want to approach it? What beverage do we want to drink? How do we want to dress? What routine do we want to even do? Can we do something brand new, you know? And it's this whole energy that's infused of stepping back in. And honestly, if you plug in again to any of the matrices, such as the news or what's happening on the planet, none of that chatter has changed. But in truth, everything internally has changed. And therefore, it's this entire level of peace. And if I could just impart to you the energy of what it was like, even though, you know, it took some physical effort from us. So I want to say high five to everybody on the trip, because we definitely climbed some awesome mountains there. My legs were crying a little bit. But we did it. There was just so much energy in the air and vitality and just pure essence, pure source field in those mountains and the rocks and the trees and the water and the land, that as we sat there and meditated, as the third eye opens, when the third eye opens, you see things, everything moves. You see the spirit realm, you see the matrices, you see the grids. And we all sat there and just went, wow, the grid was just so different. It was softer, it was natural, it was organic. And it was just an amazing contrast from seeing the grid. You know, here I am sitting in Spokane, and it's not an incredibly huge town or city, but at the same time, when I look here, I see very visible matrices and grids when I look with my third eye. Whereas in the mountains, it was so powerful to see that it was soft, it was natural, it was organic, and those artificial AI grids were not touching that place. So in short, the energy that was really shared with Mount Shasta for everyone is to really remember, we get so caught up in our society and our life and all the hectic things that are happening. And in truth, all of that that's happening is such a small portion of what's happening on the entirety of the planet, that in truth, the stuff that's happening is happening in pockets around the planet, but it's also happening mainly in the surface. And, you know, there are underground bases and things like that, but it's technically not going that far deep. And in the inner earth, we have incredibly enlightened beings. We have incredibly beautiful beings who have been holding such high vibrations up into the sixth dimension, even, that have been honestly what have been balancing this planet and helping the orbit stay more stabilized. So with that, just again, the earth really shares with us to not allow ourselves to get so caught up, come into this inner stillness, this inner peace that we have been kind of being able to step into. And as we get into this level of inner peace, take a breath, and that we can all just take a breath together. And I want to just bring our group together this evening, asking each of you to place your 24-dimensional shield around you. And as you breathe in your 24-dimensional shield, let yourself just drop into the core of the earth, the heart of Mother Earth. This evening, I'm being guided by the guardians to just start to share with you a little bit more about our 12 tree grid, which is our cathara grid, which is our blueprint. So this evening, I'm going to ask you to not pay attention with your logical mind. Do not pay attention with trying to memorize it, understand it, or figure it out. Let it speak to your heart, because in truth, it's a pretty complicated structure, but at the same time, when you get the mind out of the way, it flows very, very simple. And it really starts our internal journey by anchoring into the core of the earth. And I want you just to imagine building your 24-dimensional shield. Breathe that Merkaba star all the way down into the heart, that plasma field. And I'm going to present two ideas to you. That you know that you have your 7 major chakras within your body. And when you drop your awareness into the core of the earth, at the core of the earth is your 13th chakra. So just like the bottoms of your feet even begin to bubble up, open up, vibrate, sense that heightened emotion coming through them, as if there are geysers of light and energy that is flowing between you and the center of the earth. There is no separation between you. That in consciousness, there is no separation. Even though our physical body may be on the surface of the earth, and this plasma star is in the core of the earth, through your consciousness, there is zero separation. You are one, you are one, you are one. This is unity consciousness. And just allow that beautiful, soft, flowing river of plasma to wrap around you, flow up around you, above your head. And if you were to imagine your hands coming in a prayer signal above your head, this would be your soul star. And just creating just kind of a plasma field that locks in around you through this whole sphere of light. Every time you do this, you are aligning your body, your energy, and all of your light bodies to your Christic avatar God self. You are aligning yourself to the 12th dimensional field that allows you fully and completely to step out of all the lower forms of vibration and repattern your blueprint. So any distortions in your body begin to just automatically rewrite themselves back into these higher codes. And so that is what is so beautiful. Every time you do this, this is realigning you. This is resetting you. Just taking a deep breath. And we're invited to just be in a state of stillness for a moment as we allow our body to departicleize. I want you to imagine that all of the cells of your body kind of float apart from each other, and you're just floating freely, every cell just floating freely. And every single cell in your body is like a little storehouse. It's like a little box or a packet of information. And I want you just to imagine that every single free floating cell in your body, that anything it's been holding on to, if it was holding on to a childhood memory, a childhood fear or emotion, if it was holding on to stress that a mother is feeling, fear that a pet is holding, any of your cells and tissues, if they've been managing somebody else's energy inside of them and you've been holding on to someone, I want you to imagine unzipping those cells, opening them up, and particleizing all of you so that everything that is not you, does not belong to you, and did not originate from you, that is not of your higher truth, not in alignment with your divine blueprint, that it's as if it floats out of you. And just intend with an open golden heart. I want you to imagine your heart opening up like a golden ray, and with love and intentions, it breathes a breath of love to each of those cells of energy you've been holding for someone else, and it returns them back to wherever they belong with love infused in them, or it returns them back to the source field so that they can be recycled and brought back into harmony and balance. So just allow yourself in this moment that everything you've been holding on to, everything you've been managing, all of the mind chatter, anything in your body that is not stillness, through a state of just being mindful, open yourself and just let it all float away. Let all the thoughts float away, your nervous system, any energy that's built up in your body, just watch it drain out of your nervous system, and your nervous system gets quiet, still, relaxed, at peace. And as it sits in a state of peace, here is the beauty of it. The stillness allows it to be in the now. The stillness allows it to be completely attuned and in alignment with the source field, with your higher self, and with your soul's purpose. Now I want you to imagine, as you are there particleized, everything floating off of you, I want you to imagine the back of your body too, all of the chakras in the back of your body. Make sure you get all of the parts of you, 360 degrees around you. Check the back, check your feet, check your tailbone, check the back of your neck, your shoulders. People like to tether in there, so just make sure that you let all of that go. And with love, we don't want to be a crutch for others, and we don't want others to depend on us for their energy, for their guidance, for their direction. It's wonderful to be an example and to be a voice of wisdom, but we never want to take anyone's lessons away from them. We never want to take or absorb anybody's energy from them. And we never want to take their knowing that they have the full capability of connecting with their higher self and their source. Let's gift all of that energy back, and with honor. That we too have to realize where we have been trying to manage another person's energy, where we thought we maybe knew better for them, or what would be a better choice for them, or what they should do. And now let's find all of that where we've still been trying to control the narrative or this reality, and just gently breathe it out. You may notice that in your solar plexus. You may notice that in your second chakra, or even up into your heart. And just breathe it out. Needing to know what's happening and needing to control the narrative usually comes from a young memory or a past life memory where there has been some level of fear or trauma in our life. And now we get to honor this beautiful body that we're in and just let it go, let it go, let it breathe out, let it go, let it go, let it go. We could live 1,000 lifetimes and play out every role, every scenario, every life lesson, if we wanted to, of learning the lesson the hard way, going through things the difficult way, having to learn them by experience, or going through trial and tribulation. But in truth, when you step into your higher mind, you already have the wisdom of the outcome of every scenario. Therefore, we don't need to live out karma. We don't need to live out healing the trauma any longer. We don't need to live out all of the experience in order to know what our goal is. And so therefore, with love, notice all of the trauma that your body's been holding. And with so much love, because we've all felt it, we've all been through scary experiences, we've been through abusive experiences, even being yelled at by someone really activates the nervous system and locks that fear into our body, or that anxiousness into our nervous system. So in this moment, it's a matter of just acknowledging all of it, and just with love, I am complete. And you can say this in your mind, in your heart, I am complete, I am complete, I am complete, I am complete. I remember the divine essence. I remember source energy. I remember being in pure source light. I remember being free from polarity, from physicality. I remember being consciousness and the highest consciousness light fields that have manifested this entire 15-dimensional time matrix. From the higher mind, and you can say this in your heart, from the higher mind, I embrace my physical form. I embrace it with the love it has always sought after. I embrace it with compassion. I embrace it with nurturing. I wrap it in the living light now. And with a deep breath, I want you just to imagine, as you're particleized in cells, as each of them are clearing, that you can feel the beautiful plasma fields of the highest levels of source consciousness just flowing through you and around you, holding you. This is part of how you reframe your reality. And as you take a deep breath, we can make our declaration of intention for how we choose to honor this body, how we choose to allow it to be a vessel. That we declare from the core of our heart our intention to serve our source. We align ourselves fully and completely to the heart of the one infinite creator. We dedicate this life to being our true heart song across all the cosmos. We surrender our ego now to be in service to the law of one mission of first cause light as a pillar of light. In the light of truth, we declare and intend, I am that I am. I am a soul sovereign being. And so it is. Taking a deep breath. We are going to just embrace a little bit of knowledge this evening. And as we embrace this little bit of knowledge, I'd like for you to just allow your imagination to visualize, sense, or feel some of the places we are talking about that are part of your larger body. And each layer that you become aware of, I would invite you to open it up. Invite the Krystic 12th dimensional ray band to flow through you of your original blueprint, and imagine any of your morphogenetic field, your fire letters, your light codes, any of your blueprint matrices that are part of your axitonial lines, your meridians that move through all of your light bodies. Just imagine them moving far, far, far beyond your physical form. That every layer of your body actually expands your consciousness and your body, if you will, until it is actually the size of this cosmos. That is truly how we are all part of the one, part of unity. That in the higher vibrational densities, we start to unify as a joint unified soul field of consciousness. When we drop the body, our consciousness flows together through telepathy, through fields of unified and joint desires of love, of compassion, of healing, of restructuring the grid lines in all of the matrix. And just know that in your physical form, that your physical form is actually a manifestation of one of your larger stations of identity, so one of your higher dimensional consciousnesses, as a tool that you chose to bring into this reality to help heal, restore, and uplift the ley lines, the crystal codes, the fire letters, and the blueprint of the physical reality. And the only thing that's required of you is to have an awareness of your 12th dimensional shield. So your 12th or 24 dimensional shield. And every time you align with that around your body and intend for your body and your consciousness to align to it 100%, your declaration of intention to be in service to that vibration of consciousness, you automatically live your soul's purpose. You automatically align everything around you and begin to restore even the densities of which you're living in right now. So taking a deep breath. And if you feel guided, you can look at the screen. It is not required. But we're going to start to talk a little bit about our cathara grid. This is our 12 tree grid that is our original divine blueprint, that is part of an ever-playing eternal blueprint that moves not only down into this density as part of our physical structure, but as each layer moves up higher and higher, it intertwines with multiple blueprints of the same structure that create the entire matrix of this 15-dimensional universe that we live in. So therefore, this is the original blueprint of our divine Christos light. Each sphere within this cathara grid, which is our tree of life, is really a larger chakra that we are a part of. So you have all of your chakras, your energy centers within your body. And each of these chakras within your body are creating access points of storing information and helping to hold scalar fields of light. We live in an entire field of consciousness, and for that consciousness to have an experience in the physical reality, it has to set itself into structured forms, and it uses this by scalar waves that become kind of frozen down or slowing down the light more and more into more what appears to be solid. So we feel solid, but truly when you look with your third eye, you can see fully and completely that you are fully moving, vibrating. All of you is in a state of full light body, but we appear to be in a physical form. So each of our energy centers help lock down morphogenetic fields that hold records and information for us from our greater field of our kind of Christ consciousness and even the Rishik consciousness that we are, so the highest levels. And these interface over our physical body. So not only do you have your chakras, but you also have now overlaying over you a 12-tree grid. And this 12-tree grid has multiple layers to it that interface over the planetary body, our galactic body, and our universal body. These 12 primary cathara centers are condensed scalar wave points, and they hold the electrotonal geometrical kind of frequency. So when we think of the infinite consciousness of source, it actually comes through as electrotonal geometry. So that's what we would call sacred geometry, toning, light, all of this, that when we really look at sacred geometry, this is the essence of source. This is the language of source. And each of these centers in our cathara centers holds the program for one of the dimensions. So there's 12 spheres within this cathara grid that we have overlaying over us. And the last 3 are actually within the highest realms. So they are completely outside of our field. They're actually linking in to the lower 3 spheres of the next higher dimension above us. So for all intents and purposes, even in a 15-dimensional time matrix, there's 12 primary centers that we really work with in this physical reality. And each sphere that we get to now connect with through our body is going to be like a stargate or a doorway for your awareness of moving into the next dimension, and the next dimension up. So each of these centers is a template for each dimension that helps to ground consciousness within the holographic experience that we're manifesting. When you notice your chakras, each and every chakra in your body emits a field around you. So I want you just to imagine right now that as your physical body is particleized within the plasma field of the star of Earth, let your awareness just drop into your first chakra, and I'm just going to give some examples. Within your first chakra, which is at your root, it emits the first dimensional frequency around you, and it is a tight auric field around you. So it is emitting a plasma field around you, but it's tight around your body, and that's holding the information of the first dimension. So this is really the core molecular atoms, all of the structures of this physicality on a very primal level is just living and breathing inside of you. And so that is our root, our security, our foundation, our feeling of belonging in the physical realm, which is difficult for many star seeds, many high vibrational beings to come into this reality, and to feel comfortable in a physical body is like mixing water and oil. It just doesn't feel right. So just for this moment, feel the essence of pure divine consciousness, even moving through the elementals, through electrons, through protons, through neutrons, through molecules and atoms, which are orbiting through your physical body. And just imagine opening all of that up and anything that doesn't belong to you. So again, this could be healing deep earth wounds, wounds that the earth has been holding, pain that the earth has been holding. Know that when earth was once Tara in the higher universal field, so when earth was in the higher dimensions, in the fifth dimensional body, it was the body of Tara. And when all of that got destroyed and it dropped in frequency, the pain that it feels to be dropped into a lower form, to feel that kind of miasma. And so just notice that the earth in truth feels very fractured, because in truth, the earth body includes every single planet in this galaxy here. So all of the planetary bodies, imagining Mercury, Venus, Mars, Earth, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Pluto. Just imagine that all of these are just different pieces, and we want to just with love bring all of that back together, and just imagining what it would be like to completely let go of anything and everything that does not resonate with the 12th dimensional sphere of highest consciousness. And take a deep breath. And just quickly noticing, and you can come back to these meditations at any time, and that your second chakra is a layer just outside of the first layer. And it really works with that second dimensional. So it's more of your emotional body. And as you really sense the emotional body, there's an emotional body that infiltrates through humanity's consciousness, earth consciousness, planetary and galactic consciousness. Let yourself be aware that we are a unified field. And just as much as we want to purify our consciousness, our emotional body, and let go of all of the past where we've been stuck in a trauma state, that in truth, we can sit in meditation and through a collective consciousness field, tap into the greater collective consciousness of the planetary body and our galactic body, and just allow yourself to begin to pull out anything that is of lower vibration, reversal fields, any AI infiltrations, any Metatronic codes that have been in there, and just allow yourself to pull that Krystala Christ light through there, that 12th dimensional plasma field. So again, knowing that that's a level of consciousness that you're breathing into you, choosing to align to the 12th dimensional band waves, and reset anything within that layer so that it purifies. You are, in essence, dedicating every layer of you to this greater service of your higher self, of your Christic mind, and of unity consciousness. And let that ripple out, that in this moment, just as you did that, you've affected every human on this planet and every being within our galactic body. And you at any time can come back and you can just sit as long as you want to go through each of these. But the next layer would be your third chakra, so your emotional solar plexus, which is tied to your mental body. And that you would begin to purge that third layer out. And then you could take it up into your heart chakra, which is tied into the fourth dimensional frequency and your astral body. And you can purify your heart, bring your heart pieces all back together. We are all in a place of healing our heart, restoring our heart and expanding our heart back into the levels of consciousness that it has the capability to be. And moving up into your throat center, which is into the 5th dimensional frequency, which is moving into your archetype body. And as you move into that body, you are starting to peel the layers of identity that you've bought into this reality. That even though we are in a gendered body, it is not who we are. Even though we may have an ethnicity, a country that we were born into, all of these different belief systems, this is where we actually get to start to drop the layers of even that we've been bound by or identified by, and begin to drop all of that. Because as we move into the next layer, so your pineal gland and your 6th chakra, your third eye vision, you're now moving into the 6th dimensional frequency band, and now you're tapping into your angelic body. This is your Christic light body. As you're starting to move into this, just breathe that in and start to feel how light that is, how free that is. This is the realm of connected compassion. This is a unified mental plane, if you will, where there is telepathy, transparency. Nothing is hidden in this reality, because in truth, secrets and hiding and shame are all part of the lowest vibrations. They are all tied into fear. But in this realm, there is no transparency. You would share every thought, every memory, every experience, every emotion. You are an open book because you are an angelic being. You are a divine being that has nothing to hide. And in having nothing to hide, it means that you are willing to be what we would in this dimension call vulnerable, but there, that's not even a term. Vulnerable means you're willing to completely open yourself, regardless of how another is going to interact with us, because you know who you are. Nothing can harm you. Nothing can push you off your track. Nothing can change what you truly know in your heart about who you are, what you are, and the divine angelic being that you are. Take a deep breath with that. And notice how many layers, and bring that 12th dimensional plasma field up and through there again. The 6th layer of you is far outside the spectrum of this earth. Your angelic body is massive. It is a level of consciousness that is interconnected with everything. And as you breathe that in, just imagine the 12th dimensional field purifying through there. And what a relief to not have to worry about anything anymore. Because at this level, this is the pure state of manifestation. This is the pure state of oneness with the ethers, with the essence of source. Every breath you take, you realize is a manifestation of the pure light fields and codes within you. Every breath you take holds within it fire letters and codes that are rewriting every cellular structure in the physical body, which in turn is like an acupuncture point on the physical planet of Earth that is now like a healing conduit, a rod of light. You are being a rod of light that is infusing this earth plane with the original codes, lights, and frequencies that are restoring its balance back to it. The axotonial lines of the planet begin to realign with the axotonial lines of the higher stargates, just because of what you're doing right now. And going to the crown of your head, the 7th frequency, is tying into your catharic body. This is that level that's really starting to lock in to your 12th dimensional tree, your 12th dimensional grid. And breathe that through as you breathe it out into your 8th dimensional frequency. So your 8th chakra. And your 8th chakra is actually right in the core, pretty close to your heart, actually. It just kind of comes back into your body and it opens an other dimensional sphere inside of you. So it turns you into an expanded multi-dimensional being. And as you take another deep breath, just imagining breathing it out, 9th dimensional frequency, 10th dimensional frequency, really moving into your Krystic body at the 10th dimension, the 11th dimension, your Buddhic body, and the 12th dimensional frequency. This is what we would call our nirvanic body. So this is outside of physical form. So this is the 12th dimensional plasma field that we're breathing into. And I want you just to imagine that your meridians, your light codes, your sacred geometry now expands into the 13th primal light field, the 14th primal light field, and the 15th primal light field. So these are the God source codes. This is the tri-founder rays of which all of us originally manifested. These are the original tones that have emerged and manifested this 15-dimensional time matrix. So this is the source. When we talk of source, this is source. This is what we are connecting to. And you are plugged in directly to it. And the Krystic light, the 12th dimensional plasma field, is like a shower of crystalline plasma light that just pours down all of your grids, all of your levels of you, all of the layers of you, and all the way down all of your acetonial lines and all of your radial bodies. And it just anchors right into your chakras, filters right into your nervous system, to your organs, to your tissues, to your blood, to your brain, to your physical body, and then it breathes into your heart. And as you breathe it out, it creates a beautiful auric plasma field around you. And just feel yourself now fully holding that. The 12 tree grid is really our first level of our light body. It's the architecture of our multidimensional consciousness. So our light body that we feel around us is the human energy field or energy aura that projects our consciousness through this holographic template. So the more and more you connect with your higher vibrational consciousness, the more that higher vibrational consciousness becomes what you project into this holographic template, this holographic reality. You are the projector. The more you be your higher consciousness, the more you align yourself with Krystic consciousness, it means that you're thinking about it, you're living it, you're being it. It is how you are reframing your reality. And so therefore, everything you choose to manifest in this reality, you only want to align it within this divine blueprint. It becomes such a part of who we are that we don't even think of wanting to create outside of natural law anymore. It doesn't feel good to go against natural law. In fact, the more and more we bring the flow of divine law into our kind of breath and make it a part of our manifestation, we light up, we feel good, our heart gets bigger, we tingle, it feels amazing. No matter what, it just feels good to be that conduit in this reality. It feels as though we are then living our soul's purpose, the reason why we even chose to be here. So as we live in this physical reality, we are a physical manifestation of the light and sound waves that have kind of interwoven together and become part of the living matrix of this field that we can see with our physical eyes, touch with our hands. But in truth, it's all just kind of interwoven light matrices that when you start to see with your third eye and even your higher angelic vision, you're going to see that it's all just matrices of light. And this is what we see when we're out in nature. Nature is holding the example for us of what these natural fields look like so we can realign with them. The light body is the holder of our consciousness records and our identities throughout time. So you in this very moment, doing this work that you're doing this imagination that you're doing, is changing and healing and realigning any other lifetimes that you've ever lived. We might think of those sometimes as past lives, other soul experiences on other planets, other places, other dimensions. But as you heal all of this within yourself, you are collapsing those timelines, so to speak, and coming into a state of unified energy, unified wholeness again, so that no trauma from any other timeline or any other life experience is creating any distortions in the field anymore. Just you in this moment are completely healing and changing many timelines and places. So just to bring that in as you now let your awareness move through the grids of infinite consciousness, or what we would even call timelines and spectrums of space, and feel your soul cleaning all of that up. That each part of your layers of who you are move in higher collective groups. So you as an individual identity, when you connect with your soul, you're actually part of a family. It's not just you. It's not just here you are here and there you are there. When you actually step into your soul identity, you are part of a greater collective mind. And when you step your soul into your oversoul, you are again into an even larger gestalt or body of consciousness. It is only in this density where we are right now that we have ever had the experience of feeling alone. Because in truth, the more you connect with your higher self, you realize that you are part of a whole, part of a group, part of a family, part of an entire soul cloud field. And as you breathe all of this in, really emphasizing the plasma field, and always, if you need to, again, just drop into the core of the earth. She holds this field steadily. She never wavers in holding the 12th dimensional plasma field at her core and her heart. And just breathe that through all the layers again, completely detoxing anything that's ready to leave your body. And just to know that there are 3 main levels of your light body. And again, the first level is your 12 tree grid, which we're starting to tap into. The second level is our chakra crystal keys, our axitonial lines, our hara, and our natal structure. So really that flow of energy that starts to really move a lot of the kundalini. It's starting to bring our 12th tree grid from an etheric or an energetic level, and the chakras, the axitonial lines, and our natal hara line is really where we start to now anchor energy into physical reality. It's how we start to bring in outside energy into our body, if you will, if you want to look at it that way. And then the third level is our chakra system. So our chakra system then begins to manage, spin, move, hold all of the records within us. And that's why it's imperative for us to make sure that our chakras are truly clean. They're clear. They're not distorted with other people's energies, other people's records. And in this image, it's really just an image of our 12th dimensional shield again, our 24 dimensional shield, if you will, that we can really amplify the field. And that it's this plasma light that we bring from the core of the earth. And so now I want to just tie in how your cathara grid is tying into you. Your cathara grid as you tap into your 13th chakra, that the very first sphere of this 12 tree grid is the inner earth. It's earth. So it's at the core of the earth. And the core of the earth ties into parallel earth. So this, again, just allow your heart to grab into it, because this is how we're going to be able to clear a lot of energy. And it's also part of the galactic stargate for Mercury. And as you hold this energy in there of the 12 tree grid, there's a couple layers in how the 12 tree grid holds, but just know that that first sphere is anchoring in. And that is one of your first chakras that you get to hold within the field. And then the second chakra, or the second sphere, begins to move into anchoring in with the inner earth. And just breathe that in. Just going back a little. And as you allow yourself to just sense and feel yourself anchored into there, how this overlays into your body. So the first sphere is anchored into the core of the earth, and this is the layer that's overlaying on your body. So I want to just kind of tie this in, that this is how it's overlaying over you. And the second sphere would be kind of at your root chakra. And the third and fourth sphere would be on either side near what we would call our ovaries and our testes. And that is all I'm going to just work on for this evening as we just start to introduce ourselves. So I want you to imagine your first sphere is connected to your 13th chakra in the core of the earth. They are one, but that is where you lock in into a larger planetary and galactic grid or blueprint of who you are. And that first sphere also correlates not only on a physical level with the core of the earth, but it also ties into parallel earth. And it ties into Mercury. And the second chakra, which is at your root, ties into the inner earth. And it ties into Venus. And take a deep breath in there as you just start to feel yourself connecting. We're just going to allow that energy to move through right now. Mercury is about our short-term memory. It's about our mind. It's about how we process things. It's about how we think about things and what we remember, what sticks for us. So if you think about your childhood, there's only certain things that you remember. And that's kind of the Mercury in there. And usually it's whatever had a heightened emotion or experience for us that kind of creates a little more light up in our memory for us to remember things more. So I want you just to imagine that you're clearing as you start to connect on these multi-spheres of awareness, that you're starting to connect with clearing energy from Mercury energy, which is going to again tie in with memories. So this will be memories through you, memories through parallel earth, and memories through the core of the earth. So we are healing distortions in the way our memories have been thinking or processing things. And know that when you have memories or the way your mind thinks, it actually locks in how you process or perceive things. So we may see things in a certain way if we think a certain way. So now what you're doing is I want you to again imagine breathing in the plasma field of light, that 12th dimensional field in there, And let's align our memories back into our Christ avatar God self. Let's align our memories into our higher mind. Let's align our memories into the memories of who we are as divine angelic human beings. This also really ties in with Orion. So this is a huge healing point for us because a lot of miasma, a lot of wars, a lot of pain, and a lot of the misstructure in this particular galaxy has been a distortion through the Orion constellation. So now we're starting to allow ourselves to just tie in a little bit to some of how those memories of what we may have lived through some of those lifetimes, to allow them to clear out. Take a deep breath. And now come into your tailbone and into your root. And as you do that, this is moving into the second sphere. So this is really tying into the inner earth. And this is also tying into Epsilon, which is going to be connected with the Pleiades. And as you allow yourself to sense this energy, just beginning to sense and feel any of that nurturing energy, any of that supportive energy, any of the distortions within the divine, allowing all of that to just begin to clear and move through and purge. This is such a huge part of your auric field that it is really beyond the scope of our consciousness to even see it on a planetary level. This is moving through galactic stargates now. So you're connected through your aura doing this work with other constellations, other star systems, other star families, other star memories, other lifetimes you've had in this universe, in this entire sphere where you have lived other lifetimes, lived other purposes. And all of this is tying into your soul's purpose in this lifetime, and you get to completely heal it right here, right now. And the last energy we're going to bring in this evening is just imagine tying in. And I want you just to imagine either your ovaries or your gonad area, but just the reproductive area within kind of your, it's just below your second chakra and on the sides. And just tap into that energy. And if you want to touch it, to activate those areas, those centers in there. And this is going to start to tie into Venus energy. And we'll go ahead and bring in the fourth sphere, which is the sun. And so it's allowing us to really rewrite our social structures, our belief systems, what we have felt is right. This is also tying in with certain things in miasms that may have happened in Alpha Centauri. This is a galactic stargate for Earth and a galactic stargate for Mars. So these are very powerful areas, and this is why our sexual and reproductive areas get attacked a lot in the physical form, is because these are very powerful centers that when we learn how to use them and how to actually use them as ways to clear things on a galactic or a multi-constellation level within our universe, we can really do a lot of healing in the planet. So through these centers, allowing yourself to just connect with beginning to heal any of the energy through the Venusian energy and any of the energy through the sun, the solar rays, the sun, which is another stargate. So the Earth, the sun, these are universal stargates. So these are very, very special. And just take a deep breath. But these energies overlay on multi levels. They overlay through your body. They overlay over the planet. They overlay over the galaxy. So by the galaxy, I mean this galactic center, the Milky Way galaxy, the planetary systems that we are aware of when we do astrology charts, and then it overlays over the universal stargates, which have to do with the star families that we think of, like Orion, the Alpha Centauri, Sirius, Andromeda, Lyra, all of these different places we may have had experience. These are stargates we move through. So this is just the first moment. I want you just to allow yourself to keep breathing in. Your 12th dimensional shield. And again, it's with your heart, that it's almost as if you know now that through certain stargates in your physical body that you can tap into, that you can actually direct energy to Venus. You could direct energy to Orion. You could direct energy to Nibiru. You could direct energy to the sun, to Mercury. You are an incredible angelic being. And for very nefarious purposes, you were denied a lot of this information because there are a lot of influences on the planet that have occurred over the last couple 100,000 years that haven't wanted us to remember how incredibly amazing, beautiful, powerful, brilliant, connected, vast consciousness that we are. So within this moment of stillness, we are being invited to just drop into earth again. Feel her. She's inviting you to connect with a river or the ocean or a particular mountain or a lake, whatever resonates for you. She's inviting you to just connect with it, to feel a greater part of you, feel the stillness, feel love, feel the natural grid of this reality. And as you build, again, your 12th dimensional shield from the plasma within her, know that that's what she's emanating out around her all the time. When we see with our third eye and we see that the energetic kind of realms around us are moving, you can see between the veils, we're really looking through the different crystallized light morphogenetic fields around us. That's what we're seeing. We're seeing the different light grids around us. And in this last moment, she's asking us to just tap into your crown and call from your higher self way up. Just call from your source field, your fire letters, and just begin to breathe them down. And they will feel as if they're just rushing through the crown of your head. And breathe them down and feel them move down every part of your ladder. Jacob's ladder really referred to us moving up and down the dimensions. So just breathe it all the way down and anchor it through each of your chakras into your physical form. And just for this moment, I'm going to ask you just to imagine anchoring it into your tailbone. In this next week, as you meditate, acknowledge that in your tailbone is where you house the original 8 fetal cells that were donated to you from your mother and your father. And that it is our divine right and our journey that we can unplug, if you will, from those 8 fetal cells, that we can actually unplug them from our structure of our body and our matrix of who we are. And when we do that, what we're really doing is we're taking a step into unplugging as a human or an earthbound identity. That those 8 fetal cells keep us locked into an egoic identity, and they keep us locked into kind of a perception of ourselves as just a human being with a name, with an ego, with a job, with a house, that I live here, that you live there, that kind of thing, and bought into this matrix and this reality. And so therefore, those 8 fetal cells create a signature in your DNA structure that if you were to travel through the universe, that signature would stamp you as an Earth human being. But when you can unplug those 8 fetal cells, when you are complete with your biological family's miasmas or healing or identity, when you are complete with being tethered in any way as a human on this reality, if you will, that you unplug those from your body and your fire letters begin to pour into you and you get to breathe them in and you can start to intend to be complete with all lessons and all structures from your biological family and any of the earth-bound karma that you are choosing to step in to your light body now. You are choosing to be your galactic identity now. You are choosing now to be your universal identity now, your oversoul identity, your Christic avatar God self identity. And what it does is it unplugs those fetal cells from you, so you become a sovereign being. You're not tied or bound to the earth any longer. And as a sovereign being, now you have the right to be a galactic spiritual citizen. You have the right to be the starseed that you are. You have the right to be a divine being that is not tethered to a place. Just breathe that in. And just intend with your higher self that this happens at the rate that you are ready. You never want to rush anything. There's no hurry for anything. Time is an illusion of this reality. And in truth, we've come here to heal the distortions in timelines so that they don't have an effect on any of the higher dimensional frequencies. So just unplugging yourself from it allows these distortions to disappear out of the field and you become free, you become free, you become free. Take a deep breath. From that deep breath, allow yourself to hold an awareness again of your 12 to 24 dimensional shield. Feel yourself completely as the larger body that you are. Anchor that into your heart. Allow those fire letters to flow for as long as necessary. And again, remembering the declaration that you have created to be in alignment with this highest vibration in everything you do, everything you think, everything you manifest, that you are choosing to be in alignment with natural law. And that feels so good. With so much love, I ask you just to anchor all of this into your body and let it continue to flow, to heal your cellular tissues, to rewrite your physical structure, to know that you can love your body 100% at whatever stage it's in. It is your vehicle to be this conduit of change, of love, and of light on this planet. And what a gift that is. So you take a deep breath. With honor, we bring this beautiful meditation. Thank you so much to the guardians for sharing this with us. As we bring the sacred circle to a close, and so it is.